been a great year so far for the Republican Party in Washington state. Never thought I'd say that. They've got a fighting chance to win the governor's office for the first time in 40 years. They forced Democrats in Olympia, who control everything, to pass 3 GOP-backed initiatives. And I'm thinking, why the heck stop there? If you're on a roll, you just keep going. And Jim Walsh, the chair of the Washington State Republican Party, apparently feels the same way, because he decided, no, we're not content with 3 GOP initiatives being on the ballot in November, initiatives that, by the way, are overwhelmingly popular if you look at the polls. He says, we've got other policies, other Democratic policies that we want to roll back. We think there's an appetite for it this year, so we're going to try to do it. So Jim Walsh has put forth, and the Republican Party in Washington state is going to make a push to get enough signatures on 3 more initiatives to have them qualify in time to be on the November ballot. So let's go through what they are. This is from the Seattle Times. So they involve 3 issues that have been in the news quite a bit, that we've talked about quite a bit on the show. The first one, according to the Times, the No Squatters' Rights initiative, as drafted, would largely apply to situations in which someone without a lease agreement is present on someone else's property, sometimes called squatting. Sometimes called squatting. Isn't it always called squatting? I love how the Seattle Times has to couch like that. But one version would also roll back a hotly debated tenant protection the legislature passed in 2021 that barred evictions without a valid reason. Another initiative would require law enforcement agencies in the state to cooperate with federal authorities enforcing federal immigration law, rolling back Washington's sanctuary state status. The third proposed initiative would repeal House Bill 1589, and that is, of course, the controversial measure that was passed earlier this year that will help Puget Sound Energy transition more quickly away from natural gas. So you've got 3 topics, huge topics, love them all, love, 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 love. You've got natural gas, just making sure that you and I, if we have natural gas in our homes, we can continue to do that. The same with businesses and restaurants. Doing away, or at least reversing a little bit the dangerous sanctuary state policies that have led to the deaths of people. And all that means as a sanctuary state is you are saying, and this is common sense. In fact, I think Alejandro Mayorkas, he was just in Congress testifying, and he said that he believes local jurisdictions should cooperate with federal immigration authorities when it comes to someone who poses a clear and present danger to the public. Not controversial, even in the slightest. And then this whole squatter issue, which, by the way, the Seattle Times and other national outlets, we talked about it a few days ago, are calling a right-wing talking point. It's not. It's happening more than we even know, because not every squatter story is on the news. And it's a big deal. And it doesn't make a lick of sense. So making sure that someone can't just go into your home that you pay for, squat there and say, it's mine now, kick me out, you're going to have to go to court. That's absurd. So I think these things would be very, very popular. Let's hear from kind of the 2 sides of this. Oh, we got a quote from Shasti Conrad, the chair of the Washington State Democratic Party. I'm sure that's going to be deep and profound. Starts with Jim Walsh. He is also a state representative, by the way, from Aberdeen, so he does the dual role. According to the Times, he says the issues driving the new petitions have been the 3 most common topics so that we just mentioned, raised at recent GOP town hall meetings across the state. They're real, he said, denying that they are efforts to stoke outrage to drive voter turnout. Hell, I think that they do stoke outrage. I think they will drive voter turnout. Whether that's the intention or not, those 3 things do stoke outrage, and rightfully so. Shasti Conrad, chair of the Washington State Democrats, described the most recent initiatives as a cheap ploy for Republicans to try to dial up turnout. As if they don't use their own cheap ploys. Oh, abortion rights are at risk. Oh, Trump, orange man bad.
And cheap.
Cheap? That's not cheap.
And the last one's cost a few million.
I think it was like $8 million. So yeah, cheap, definition of cheap. She said, I think it's partially a failure on their end to find candidates that are inspiring and energizing for both their base and for Washingtonians across the state. And therefore, instead of focusing on winning races, they're turning to these issues that they think will drive turnout for them. The chair of the state Democrats is clearly stuck in obsolete political strategies and tactics, Walsh said in a text message. This is 2024. Common sense conservatives are going to do in all of Washington what we did in Legislative District 19, which is his district, which was flipped. So, okay, a couple things. I actually agree with Shasti Conrad on one point. I do think Republicans need better candidates. That has been an issue for some time. I think ever since kind of Donald Trump, he hasn't been very popular in Washington state. And so Republicans have been very divided between the more moderate Republicans, the Trump Republicans. There have been some very bad candidates as a result. And also, with all the craziness, who the heck wants to run for public office? And normal people are like, not me. So I actually agree with Shasti. Yeah, I do think Republicans need to focus on actually running better candidates. I mean, they have Dave Reichert this cycle for governor, which I think is a real improvement on who ran for Republicans in 2020. So yeah, I agree with her on that, but that doesn't mean that you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Democrats are consistently dismissing the initiative process, which is why, as I said on the show yesterday, they're hoping to get supermajorities in the House and Senate in Olympia. They are absolutely going to go after the initiative process. They do not want that to be something that Washington voters have at their disposal. It's clear. They attack it at every single juncture. And think about what the initiative process is. It's not like Jim Walsh on his own can put these initiatives on the ballot. They require hundreds of thousands of signatures each. So when they disparage the initiative process, what they're really disparaging are the voters of Washington, who they think are too dumb to understand the initiatives that are in front of them, or too easily duped by Republicans to be able to make the right decisions about those initiatives. So remember that, especially people who align more toward the left. When they disparage the initiative process, they are disparaging Washington voters. They are disparaging the state constitution and a protection and a power that the people have in this state to try to make sure that a government that is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, doesn't step too far out of line. So disparage the initiative process all you want, Shasti Conrad, but if that's all you have and you can't defend, and that's what you never see. You never see them defending the policies that are being targeted by the initiatives. Same with the 3 initiatives that are already on the ballot in November. The capital gains. You don't see them really talking about how important it is and that money and the spending. You hear them attack rich people. Oh, this is just for rich people. Rich people are just angry. With the Climate Commitment Act, the effort to repeal it, all they do is attack Brian Haywood. Oh, rich mega donor who's pushing this through. They don't actually talk about the benefit of the Climate Commitment Act and why it's so important for the state of Washington to keep it in place. So this is what they do. They can't defend the sanctuary policy because they know that there are clear issues with it. They certainly can't defend giving squatters rights to just show up in someone's house and take it over. And so they just attack and call it a cheap ploy. And I think that's kind of lazy. Look, Shasti Conrad, if you want to defend, you can come on our show. I'll give you 1 full hour. 1 full hour, Shasti Conrad. If you believe that your positions on these issues, like squatters, right, are the winning positions and that facts and reason and common sense are on your side, then I'm more than happy to talk to you about them on the merits. So, Nicole, can we make that happen? Reach out to Shasti Conrad. I'll give you 1 full hour. I will listen to your side of the argument intently. I will give you my side of the argument as well. And I'm inviting you to do that because, 1, first of all, I hope you say yes, but I know you'll say no. And 2, I'm very confident that I have better points on every single one of these initiatives than you do, because orange man bad, rich man bad, GOP bad, all of that is just going to fall flat with our very, very highly intelligent and independent-minded viewers.